If you're passionate about writing and you want to make a living out of being a self-published author, but you're not sure exactly how to go about it, I have two things that I want to share that I think might make a big difference. I'm Priscilla Shumba, and this is Reinventing Perspectives. Our mission is to help you stay in faith while you're on the grind. Today's episode is about being a self-published author. Well, being a self-published author means that you have complete autonomy over your work. But having control over your work also means that you have the responsibility to make your book a success. So you have to wear several hats: writer, publisher, and you have to be the business machine behind your work. It kind of takes the romanticism out of writing, but it also gives you the freedom to write what you want and to control how your work comes out to the world, which I think sometimes is even more important. As an artist, this is more important than just having your work out in the masses. You have a message that you want to share. I've written 2 books myself and self-published them, so I've learned a little bit about what it takes to make a book a success. I definitely suggest listening to a lot more self-published authors to get a lot of ideas about what it's really gonna take. Sun Tzu says, every battle is won before it's even fought. The most important thing that I've learned is you have to reverse engineer your success. That's the biggest thing that's gonna make a huge difference in your outcome and really the journey to becoming a successful author, or at least an author that can make a living off their writing. Right, so my 2 tips, let's dive right in. Remember, you're wearing 3 hats. You're the writer, so you've written your book and you finished writing the book. You're the publisher, you're going to self-publish the book. And you're an entrepreneur. You're the business machine behind making this book a success. First tip is that you have to sit down and really put a lot of thought and detail into your marketing. You want to understand who is your target audience. Who are you writing this book for? If it's a book for children, you want to be specific. Which age range of children? Are you writing for the 1 to 3 years age? Are you writing for teenagers? You want to be very specific. And once you're very specific, it allows you to bring the most value that you can to that specific age range, which improves the likelihood that your book can be a success. You want to be speaking directly to a certain group of people. Now I'm going to dive into the marketing mix. Yes, I know, the marketing mix. But remember, you have to be the business machine behind making your book a success. So understanding the business side of being a writer is going to bring some money into your bank, which I think we all need a little bit more money in our banks. So let's dive into the 4 P's of the marketing mix. The first P is product. You've got your book. Right. You want to really look at, 1, how can you improve your book, especially in terms of speaking directly to your target audience. You want to make sure that your packaging is appealing. If someone were to walk by the book, would it catch their eye? Make sure that in terms of length, it's appropriate for your target audience. It's not about the book being long or the book being short, but you want it to be about bringing great value to the person who reads it. And great value doesn't have to be a long book, and it doesn't also necessarily need to be a short book. Okay, you really want to look at the book as a product, like you'd look at anything else in the store if you wanted to buy it. You'd read the back. Is the summary of the back interesting? You'd look at the author. Well, what else can you find out about the author? If you Googled them, would you go to their website or to their page? And then what would you learn about them? All the research that you would do for any other product, bring that mindset into your book as a product. Second P is place. Where can the reader find your book? Is it easy to find? More importantly, is it in the place where your target reader would be? Is it on Amazon? Is it at a school bookstore? Then you want to look at the price. If you're a new author, you also want to take into consideration that people don't really know you. So the value they place on your work, not that your work is not good, and the value is not really a reflection of you as an author or your work, but the price should be something that entices a reader to want to get to know you. People think about it again, like any other product. You're willing to pay $200, $250 for a certain brand of jeans because you know the brand. But then for any ordinary jeans that don't really have a brand, you're probably not willing to pay $200, $250 on them. You want to try it out and see if it's a great fit. And then if you like the fit enough, you'll come back and buy some more. And if you hear that they've gone up because the fit was great, you'll buy again. So think of your book that way. Don't put obstacles to people buying your book. Price it right for your target audience. What are other authors selling their book for? And then not only that, what are new authors in that same target audience selling their book for? Then you want to just look at what would be the right price for your reader. In the beginning, I would suggest actually giving away some books for free. Yes, I know you've put in a lot of hard work and sweat, but give away some books for free because you want people to get familiar with your writing. And the last P, which I think is the most important P, is promotions. You have got to be the hype man, hype woman of that book and claim that title of author because you've earned it. For more information on promotions, check out our video on 6 promotional tips for the early entrepreneur. Proverbs 10:4-6 says, "Lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. He who gathers crops in summer is a wise son, but he who sleeps during harvest is a disgraceful son." Make sure you put in the work. Remember, the work isn't done when you're finished writing. The work really is just beginning. You have to really drive the success of that book. Don't do it half-hearted. Go all in, put on your business hat, put on your entrepreneur hat, and go all in. Tip number 2 is really about understanding your book in the context of everything else that you're going to do. We don't want to look at our work as isolated creations. You need to look at your work as part of a greater portfolio. The goal is to make a living as a writer. So remember, we're reverse engineering that ability to make money and to make a living as a writer. So think to yourself, is this book part of an ecosystem of products or part of an ecosystem of books? So maybe it's a series of books. You want to think about it that way when you're approaching your writing. If this is book number 1, then what would book number 2 kind of be about? Or what would book number 3? Or is it a 5 series? So that you really have something that you're pitching to your reader and that your reader can look forward to. Well, is this part of an ecosystem of products? So maybe you've written a book and the book has, it's a motivational book or it's a children's book and it has merchandise that can come together with the book. You have t-shirts, you have cats. A great tool for understanding really about where you spend your money when you're marketing and where you're getting the most value out of your marketing, like what is generating the most money, is the BCG matrix. The BCG matrix is commonly used by big corporations with large portfolios, but I'm a big believer that entrepreneurs, if we make use of business principles in the way we conduct ourselves, no matter how small the venture is, that the likelihood of success will be higher. The BCG matrix has 4 quadrants: the dog, the cash cow, the rising star, and the question mark. I'll start with the dog. If you're a fan of the US show Shark Tank like I am, then you're familiar with the statement from Kevin O'Leary: "It's a dog, take it to the back of the barn and shoot it." So the dog doesn't use much money, but it also doesn't generate much money. You have that book that's not making a lot of money, but it's also not using a lot of money. So you're not promoting it necessarily, but it's also not bringing in very much. I would say don't take it to the back of the barn and shoot it. Keep that book going because it gives you a point of reference. You have earned the right to use the word author by writing a book. I didn't say author of a great book that's making a lot of money or author of a bad book that nobody's buying, but author basically means you have a book out there. And you can't call yourself an author if you don't have a book out there. So keep that book there. It's a point of reference and it's a place where people can get familiar with your work. Then you've got the question mark. You've got a book that you're spending some money promoting, and you're spending quite a bit of money promoting it, and you're getting some sales, but not a lot of sales. So it is generating money, but not a lot. You're just not sure where it's going to go. You're not sure if it's going to become a bestseller, but you're not sure if you stop the promotion, that would be the end of your sales. So that's the question mark. With the question mark, I would say keep promoting the book, but you want to give it a timeline. You don't want to spend more money than what you had planned, and you don't want to go out of budget. So you must always have a marketing budget of how much you're going to spend on your promotions. As an entrepreneur, you want to make sure that you're betting on yourself. People don't know that your product exists. People don't know if your work is good. People don't even know your voice. So you have to really be the one who says, I'm going to put the money behind myself. Bet on yourself. It might take a little while and a lot of work, but before you know it, other people will be willing to bet on you too. Then you've got your rising star. You're spending a lot of money promoting it, but you're also seeing a high rate of sales. So you're generating a lot of money from that book. There's a good and bad part to the rising star. It's great because your book is selling and it's flying off the shelves, but it's also not so great in terms, well, financially, because even though you're making a lot of sales, you're also spending a lot of money. So at times, at best, you're just breaking even. But still, the most important thing in this case is the ability to build your brand. People are getting to know your work, which is absolutely phenomenal. That's the goal. That's the aim. Because once people know your work, your next book will sell even easier. Philip Kotler says, the aim of marketing is to reduce selling. So all these things that you're doing to market and promote your book so that it sells, eventually you won't have to push so hard in order to sell because you've built a brand, you've built a name, you've built a following, and people have a certain expectation about your work, which makes selling that much easier. And remember, you do have to worry about selling even though you're the writer, because you are, as a self-published author, you are the business machine behind your book. You have to make sure that it's a success. Then you've got the cash cow. It's not using a lot of money, so you're not really actively promoting it, but it's generating a lot of cash. It's generating a lot of sales. This is a great place to be. And usually you get here after you've done a lot of hard work. Your name is now established out there. And the book, the name, it sells itself. So when you have a portfolio of books or a portfolio of products, you just want to understand where exactly it is in this matrix, which will help you to understand how to go forward. These 2 tips that I've given you are really about strategizing around having your work become successful, financially successful, that is. Because writing a book already, consider yourself to have accomplished a great feat. That's a success in itself. But you also want to have something that's financially successful so that it's not just a hobby. We put a lot of time and effort into producing work. Just a quick recap. So you want to understand your target reader. Who is this book for? So that you can add tons of value to that target group. Then you also want to make sure your content is evergreen. The kind of stuff that even if you read it 2 years from now, 5 years from now, it would still be relevant. Then you want to make sure that you're looking at the 4 aspects of your marketing: your product, the place where it's found, the price at which it's being paid for, and you want to make sure that you're doubling down on those promotions. Make sure that you are being hype man, hype woman, promoting. Understanding where your book or where your product falls in the BCG matrix helps us to be more business-minded in our decisions so that we're less emotional. I know as an artist, you've slaved over a book and you put it out there and it doesn't seem to be getting the traction that you expected. And you know it's good and you know the amount of time and effort that you put into it. Well, this is when you have to put on your business hat. What does it mean? Really analyze it so that you can put strategies into place to have a book that sells and to also think about, okay, well, what should I do with my next book to improve this? And being able to wear these 3 hats of writer, publisher, and business person, you're pretty awesome. Proverbs 16 verse 3 says, commit your work to the Lord and He will establish your plans. Thank you again for watching. If you got any value out of this, please do like, share, and join the conversation. Please subscribe so that you get notified every time we post a new video. Thank you again, and until next episode, stay safe.